Well, hello everyone. It is Friday the 13th of May. Yes, Friday the 13th. I hope you're not triskaidekaphobic. I am Dale Delbridge, Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. This is your status chat. Now, honestly, I think we're looking pretty good, but if you start looking at some of the national news, now we're beginning to see the bubble bursters that we've always been talking about for the last 2 years, and we see the people, inflation is kicking in, and we do see in an article by a realtor, I think it was last week or the week before, that Memphis is one of the quickest declining, one of the top cities they pointed out for prices to decline the quickest. Memphis is in Tennessee. Memphis is also a blue city. Metro Davidson County is a blue city. Do I think we're going to see that go? I don't really think so, to be quite honest, because Middle Tennessee and the MSA, the Middle Tennessee Metropolitan Statistical Area, looks like it's going to come out number one in the nation for destination, which means we're still the most popular. And if we don't get number one this year, we'll probably not be any lower than number three, but that's just a guess. We still have about half a year to go, but we're doing really well. So I wouldn't expect a whole lot of change there. Of course, that's not everything. Pricing and inflation and fuel and all that kicks in there. But I still think we will be better than most of the United States in terms of holding steady to what we have. We have in the past. We may in the future. We'll just have to see how that goes. Now, let's get to that middle segment. As with anything we bring to you from the internet, you'll find the full link to that thing in the status chat description over on the YouTube page, in the status chat in which it appears. Now today's is from WKRN. Erica Francis posted yesterday, updated today, special reports, outside influences driving real estate market in Middle Tennessee. Well, if you've been listening and watching our status chats, you know that this is not news to me. I've told you this before, that that's what's going on. Now, I think last year we had around 8%, between 8 and 9% of the homes were being bought by investors who are competing in a very low inventory market. That's helping to drive that price up. Now, you've also heard me talk about the housing ladder. Most people, as I've told you before, the bulk of their net worth is tied up in the home that they own. Most people who are homeowners don't own 2 or more homes. They own the home that they're in or a portion thereof. And so most people build their wealth by building equity in that home that they own. When you rent, it's kind of cliche. A lot of real estate people like to tell you, you're building equity for someone else because they own the home, and as the value goes up, they're getting income and increased value, and it's their home, so they're the ones who get the net worth. What you get is one more month worth of shelter. So this concept of the housing ladder is that first house can be difficult to get into, and it takes a professional. Someone oftentimes that help you negotiate around these things, and especially in this kind of a market. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a bit, but it's just hard getting started. It really is. And I remember when I bought my first home, it was a tough deal, and that got me started. Now, Rob Mitchell, we've talked about him with this Rutherford County assessment that came up. Wilson County, I believe, was last year. So we have this guy saying you have to get busy living or get busy dying. Mr. Rob Mitchell, Rutherford County property assessor, said, quoting one of his favorite movies, Shawshank Redemption. And he's right. Here's the thing, regardless of what's going on, who's buying the homes, I don't see it necessarily getting any easier in the very near future because, again, if we remain the destination location for so many people, your competition for those homes is going to be tight. And you need somebody to work with. So if you delay, what is your cost to delay? We're going to expect inflation to be a factor on you. We expect to see that the rates are going up. We saw recently that we had a highest increase in interest rates by the Fed by a full half point, was the highest in 22 years. It looks like it's going to be a little more challenging. So it might be a good point to get busy living instead of get busy dying. I mean, that's just kind of where we are. You need to work on it. Now, Mitchell said, this is our property assessor, Rutherford County, said 1 in 10 properties in Rutherford County is owned by a real estate investment trust. So I think nationally it was, or Middle Tennessee overall, it was close to 8 to 9 as quoted by our brokerage. So 1 in 10 is maybe a little bit higher. Let's see what we got going on. In certain neighborhoods, these investment trusts own 3 to 4 out of every 10 houses. And that's a Professor Ken Chilton, professor at TSU. So that's already cutting into your availability. If 3 out of every 4 homes in a neighborhood are taken up by an investor, that's who are looking to rent it to you, not to sell it to you, that's cutting down on your opportunities. And of course, the location. You hear us say that all the time. What is the most important part about a home? It's location. And they're all clustering around the I-24, well, Murfreesboro, Rutherford County, Middle Tennessee, right there at Metro, all the way down through Murfreesboro, Thompson Station, Spring Hill. They're going south. All right. And then what are we talking about here? This is some interesting things, as you would expect, since these investors are looking to rent you back the house that they just bought before you. They're looking at rents that you can afford. So they're looking at something that they can get probably $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 a month off of. And they're not buying the big homes. They're not buying the $1.2 million houses and that sort of thing, because that's not what most people rent. Most people rent around that $250,000 to $300,000 range. Here we're looking at this lady from Brick Realty. The ones, she said, sit around $250,000 to $350,000 with 3 beds and 2 baths. If you go to my website, calldelltosell.com, you see my MLS at a glance, and the other charts that I have there for you, they're all 3-bed, 2 baths, because this is that's probably the bulk of the market is in that area. And so it helps you with that. So we know that they're buying the homes that you want to buy to get into it, because they're going to rent it back to you. And we can go on down. Let's see. Now that once they have enough influence on the market, and 1 in 10 homes is a pretty good chunk of the market, they can actually sway demand, and they can have a very emotional impact on your buying decision simply by, you needed to buy a house, you've changed job or whatever, and you can't find a home, and it's kind of like that Buzz Lightyear, the year that Toy Story came out. Everybody wanted one. Didn't everybody have one? People were making money on it. It's just supply and demand type thing. And now, in this day and age, we have these real estate investors who are buying homes for the purpose of renting them. And they're taking about 1 in 10 in Rutherford County, according to our tax assessor. So what can I do to help? First of all, being with Benchmark Realty, we are number 1 in the MSA. We had, I think, $4.6 billion worth of transactions in the greater Nashville MSA metropolitan statistical area. And we are the biggest overall, accounting for, I think, around 20-some-odd% of the market as far as other single brokers, which means in the process of getting a home ready to go to market, we've got it coming in. It's not ready to show, not ready to go, but we know it's coming. And because we have 1,500 people doing the sales, those 1,500 people represent more people working with the potential of having a property come into market than some of the smaller brokerages have. Also, with that comes experience and oversight that we have. So I think that we can probably increase your odds of getting a home. If anyone can, we can. And I would appreciate it if you call Dell to Sell. It's not going to be easy. I'm not going to blow smoke. It's a tough job. It's a tough job getting you into that first home. Or if you have a first home and you want it to become a second home, you have to have a place to go. It's just a tough market all the way around. Call a professional. Call Dell to Sell. Hello, I'm Dell Delbridge of Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. If you are currently unrepresented and would like to know how to compare up to 3 properties side by side and room by room, then go over to my new YouTube channel. Call Dell to Sell. That's 1 L in Dell, no spaces. Watch the demo on Real Scout and then call me and we'll set up your exclusive ad-free account today. Okay, last week, 5/6/22, 6th of May is a significant day in Spain. Goya had a painting on that. We had a 85 in the opportunities in the Real Scout system. It was up, I think, for like the 4th week in a row, so that's starting the trend in the positive direction. We had 4373 in the under contracts still showing. That was a decrease. And the integer ratio between the two of them dropped down 2 percentage points. That's a pretty good jump. It was steady for 2 weeks at 50. Now it jumped down to 48. 95.87 for this week, Friday the 13th. That's pretty lucky. And 43.65 tending down just a tad for the ratio of 46.2. percent at the integer level. Now we actually could have maybe just a little bit dropped at another percentage point, but we always round up or down around that half point. So it looks pretty good. Looks like we're in our good, typical, predictable spring, summer selling season, and things are green. That's when people sell, and it looks pretty good for that. So I think we're going to be okay. Some of the naysayers on the internet are saying, oh no, we're going to slow. We're already seeing slowing down in places. Look for the fall to be the big money season. And quite honestly, I don't think that that's going to apply to us as much. Maybe if we get some things under control, but I think we're pretty well much clipping along at our regular pace. Maybe inventory's a little bit low. Days on market's a little bit low. We're doing okay. It's still going to be okay for the next 6 months or so, I believe. But we'll only know when we get there. So appreciate you watching. And remember, tell a buddy, tell a friend, tell anybody you can, watch this and then get on over to the calldeltosell.com website and get into the system. That way, if you wait long enough, it'll give you a little page. It'll pop up and say, here, sign up for this. If you'll do that, it'll make things a lot easier. I'll see that, and we'll see you next week.